Ooh, this thing has a new on-air light. Oh,
Mhm.
check out the music. Look at you.
Hopefully it's from the You can hear that, right?
I can hear it. Yes, I can hear it. I hope everybody else can. It would be hilarious if the theme song only was
In our
available
ears?
to us and nobody else.
No, they can hear it. They
Okay.
always admit they can hear it when they're here.
That's good.
Question
This is a new
is-
on-air. Restream has a new on-air light, and I very much enjoy it.
I don't see it at all. Where's the on-air light?
It's on top. You might have a different view because you're the man. You know what I mean?
That's probably what it is.
So I do
Welcome.
have.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. No, we're not starting yet. That's right.
We're not starting yet because I do have a story. Let's say for just to start this off, I teach. I've taught at every level, like middle school, high school, undergrad, graduates. I now like professors. I train. So my cynicism for the youth these days is not there. Like I have faith in this next generation.
Oh,
actually.
I thought it was
have
going
a
in a
lot
totally different direction. I
have
thought that
a
was
lot
going
of
in
faith
because
in-
I teach, I have less faith. but-
No, so it's like because I'm involved, I have a lot of faith in the next generation. I have a bunch of little cousins. I have a lot of faith in them. Like they're all really good. That being said, my confidence was rocked. My confidence was rocked this last week because I'm now currently, I still ball. I am the old man at the gym. I don't know when that happened, but it happened and it's here now.
Comes on quick.
I
doesn't it?
clearly it happened and I'm there. So the Achilles tear is absolutely coming at some point. But they wanted to run five. They're just like, hey, you want to run fives? And everybody knows what that means. We're playing full court. We're either shooting for teams or we're making the teams or we're shooting for ball first, right? Everybody knows these rules. We Indiana, the capital of 5-on-5 indoor pickup. This is where it is. We are one of the people that can make the rules, right? In Pittsburgh, this is what happens. This is the first time I've ever experienced this. We start the game, we win the first one, and then we play the team that also won. So it's like kind of a mini tournament type thing on the two courts. That was fun. They were super athletic and they did not beat us by as much as they should have. It was something like 11-7 or something like that. But they played with 6 players. Unannounced, they played with a sub. And usually in pickup, when you substitute, it's like, okay, somebody like popped an Achilles, somebody popped an ACL, somebody's ankle is facing the wrong way, like completely understandable. No worry. There was this new jabroni that was in the game, and the guy that was the mouthiest on the other team was on the sideline. I was like, you all right? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, are you in? And he was like, no. And I realized they were substituting, like Pat Riley was on the bench or something like that. It was insane. These children have no ethics, no morals, no sense of justice,
Matchups,
no
baby.
understanding of this. Oh my gosh.
Were
It is
they- were
for,
they-
for the sake of pickup, I needed to school them afterwards. And I was like, hey, if you're playing subs, you got to say it. But like the essence of pickup cannot be passed down by this just heedless, lawless generation.
I think it would have been great if they were like, blasting a horn. Subs.
Exactly.
Guy comes in
Calling.
and they're only doing it like they have a guy they bring in to play defense and then they sub him out for the offense.
Offense, defense substitutions.
Right, late in the game, they're like, you know what? This guy's got fouls to give. We're going to put him in there, put him on a niche. Were these young
my
people?
Gosh. These were all the young, like college, like, undergrads, probably. I think all of them were undergrads or maybe in their young, just like right outside of it, like maybe early grad.
It's been a while
students,
since
but
I played
think
pickup, but yeah, you just got 5 guys together and you played. And if you had
played
extras,
5
what I
v 5.
remember we would do is we'd shoot for who got to play. Right? And if you didn't...
This has been American pickup for decades now. Centuries at this point.
When you missed your free throw shooting for teams, you just were like, I guess I'm sitting another game.
Yeah, exactly. You sucks to suck. But these guys brought 6 players to a 5-on-5 run. They asked if we wanted to play 5s, and they brought 6. I can't do it. It's wild to me. These children. This is the first time that my faith in the next generation was
truly
faltered. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's
The
insane.
first time your faith in the next generation
It's
has
the first
faltered.
time.
Well,
It's the first time. Yes.
I guess it happens to all of us, and for you, it's finally
Pickup
starting.
does it. Basketball. Yes, it is very poetic that basketball is the thing that did it. Yes.
Your influence has convinced my son that you should also always have basketball gear in your car for, as you put it, basketball emergencies. A ball,
Yes.
shoes,
Shorts,
maybe a
socks.
pump. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
100% pump. Like these are towel essentials. These are absolute
You never
essentials
know
because you
when
never
a pickup game is going to break out, and
in high school. So what in high school in the 2000s, what happened was
was it?
we had the big we had the big jeans. And so what you would do is you would wear basketball shorts under your big jeans again for basketball emergencies. And now it's like we wear reasonably sized clothes. And so that doesn't that can't happen anymore with your son. So
No, no. But they're always wearing sweats or shorts, so they're actually always ready to go. One thing
they're
I've
always ready
noticed,
for ball, man. This is what I'm
they are.
saying. They're always
They
ready for
are.
ball.
Um, it is, you know what we don't have on the screen anymore? Oh, no, we do. Never mind. I was going to say we don't have something that is there, the counter. So we've wasted about 6 minutes. So if you're going to join, you've joined. It is the basketball beat. It is the Boyle Sports basketball beat. Our second of the year? Doing really well this year. But you're getting lots
I
of
have
content.
no idea.
You're getting lots of content. Boiled Out is there every game.
But we're taking all credit for Boiler Down being excellent at
It
this.
is grinding him down. It is not just the season that's grinding him down. It's some of the interactions and some of the stuff, and we may get to that. But Purdue lost today. Now, what's funny is I did a quick video on the Bold Sports YouTube feed early today talking about seeds and saying, people are like flipping out because Purdue lost to Michigan State and saying, oh, it's going to cost them a 2 seed. And I was like, not really, because things like KenPom say they're still top 8. So you keep winning your games and you lose a tough game against a good team, it doesn't hurt you as much as you think. Plus, analytically, statistically, your body of work is mostly completed. So what you are right now is not going to change a ton over the last few games. It can, and you can get punished by the committee, right? They can say, well, you're trending in the wrong direction, so you're going to move down. But my point in all that was that, if they were to take care of business here down the stretch, locking up, they'd have a 2 locked up. If they'd won these last 3 games, they had a 2 locked up. And
For sure.
we talk every year about how the Big Ten tournament doesn't matter at all. I think that's always been true. I think it remains true. If Purdue won these last 3 games and then lost their first game in the Big Ten tournament, it wouldn't have mattered at all for their seeding. However, Purdue's decided to test that, and they lost to Ohio State today. So it kind of throws my little undertone of hey, relax, it's okay, kind of out the window. But before
I'm of two minds, but yes, keep going.
Well, I was just going to say, before I forget and do this 45 minutes in, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Home Field. I'm sporting the Home Field Purdue Griffin hoodie. It's super soft, one of my favorites. Anish has a base layer on, a Home Field apparel base layer.
The script, the one on your hat. I got the script Purdue on.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can go to Home Field and get some cool stuff. They have even more Purdue stuff now. Still waiting on those 2024 Final Four Home Field shirts.
I'm banners, sure sweats.
They're probably they're coming soon, I'm sure. And then the other thing is, when you leave the game, you should head to AJ's. Even if you don't go to a game, if you're just anywhere near campus, if you're within an hour, I think you should drive up and you should go to AJ's. Say hi. They're nice. The food's good. Very good. You'll enjoy yourself. Great environment. TVs everywhere. Nice people. Even when it's crowded, right? We've had a great time there. It's one of those places where even when it's crowded, you're like, all right, they'll find a way. They fit you in. It's
fun. And it's a part, it's a good crowd. It's always a good crowd. I do wish there was a bar just so that you could go and hang out there. You know what I mean?
But Adam, take note. It's
a bar.
Great.
It's great. It's in the
I think
summers.
That changes things a little bit if you add a bar. Now you're suddenly Jake's.
You're right. Yeah, this is absolutely correct.
Now
out of college campus, this is very dangerous. You're right.
I mean, they already serve beer and now liquor, so you can get mixed drinks there. So we're pretty close at this point. I'm surprised they don't just set up, You go to like a golf course and they like set up the little temporary bar right by the starter, like, "Hey, everyone, come on over. It's a nice day." And you're like, "All right, I
I
guess I
mean,
will."
maybe that's what happens. So I was about to say that my favorite part is during the summer when and like early fall when the garage doors are open and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like the everything is open. That's my favorite. Shout out AJ's. Shout out Adam.
absolutely. Um, so we started here talking about Purdue's, what's the word? Sort of, is it, do you think the vibe or the impression that people, including Boiler Dad, are getting that there's sort of a uh, lack of urgency, a lackluster sort of
Oh,
effort going on, or is it just it's tough to win games in the Big Ten? Because I try to always remember that like nothing's a given, and winning these games, especially on the road, is never going to be an automatic thing. And I have a hard time suggesting that guys who are lifelong athletes, whatever you want to call them, the people who say, "Oh, they're professionals now," and they are, they're paid now, like I have a hard time believing that guys who've lived their life to do this don't care. I have a really hard time with
oh,
that sort of. I don't think that's what's going on. I don't think there's a lack of caring. I mean, I've heard a few analysis saying, and like it's not. It's easy to let that creep in and think, this game meant a lot to Ohio State, and it doesn't mean that much to Purdue. They're not going to win the Big Ten, and they really want to do their damage in the NCAA tournament. This crew, this senior class, but I just have a hard time believing they don't care enough to put out the effort.
I think care and urgency are two different things, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
think they care very much, and I think they clearly have. I mean, like, and they've especially the senior class, like they have proven it over these last 4 years, right? Um, but the the moment to moment urgency is something that we're not seeing. And the man, it is so two things I'm noticing here. One, it is so hard to go through this season without thinking of the Zach Edey senior year,
Right.
without thinking of the last most high pressured basketball season in Purdue history, right? I'd say that is far more pressure
Oh
than
yeah.
this season, actually.
Yes.
And the way that Zach and this senior class attacked that season, like we were watching clips of, was it the Michigan State game where Zach
Mm-hmm.
had it was like the
Mm-hmm.
last 2 minutes of that Michigan State game where Zach had the game winner, and it was in Breslin, I think. And it was just like a back and forth, and the precision and the urgency from everybody, and then just like the decisiveness and unstoppable nature of Zach Edey, like it was such a different team to watch. Now, this year had that condition, but without, like, with Braden instead of Zach. And it turns out not having the greatest player in college basketball history is a big, is a big, at least since Kareem, is a pretty big drop off, right? Um, so that's one thing. It's like, it's hard to not think of that year when it's high pressure and Zach delivered. Like, game in, game out. There were very few disappointments that year. Um, the other part is that I'm looking at the schedule here. It is that UCLA, Illinois, and Indiana back to back losses that is still shaping what we think about this season now. So let's say in what we expected was that they would probably lose one winnable game, not three in a row, but one of those. And then let's say you go into February, the middle of February, with this slate, which turns out to be tough: Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan, Indiana, Michigan State, Ohio State. Those 6 games, and you go 4-2, or 4-2, 3-3. This is what Purdue went. Purdue went 3-3 in those games. At that point, you're saying, okay, Purdue might not be the best team in the country. They might not be like the dominant Big Ten team. That is a really hard stretch. That is okay. I think so much of this is being shaped by how they also responded to the UCLA loss, how they responded to Illinois, how then Indiana won a football championship and then immediately turned around and beat us in basketball, right? So it's like that is still shaping this. It's some of the post game comments too, and the nonchalance after that stretch is really influencing this. But this was a hard stretch. This was a stretch after that 3 games where we said this might get really ugly. And it turns out like it's about what we expected, right? They're a good team, at least right now. They're a good team, not a great team. Um, they are far too dependent on the 3-pointer, and I say that as an analytics guy. Like they are far too like they have no outlet valve if the 3 isn't going down like it wasn't in the second half. But yeah, it's just urgency, right? It's not care, it's just urgency.
And they don't have an outlet, but I don't know. I feel like having Trey Kaufman-Renn, who can. Second, I just opened a different window and started getting whatever the audio was from that in my ears.
Love it. I love the
So
autoplay.
awesome. You have TKR down there, who's I'm just looking. That's what I was opening up. He's averaging 13 and almost 9. He needs to average maybe a little bit more, but like he should be your safety valve, shouldn't he? Shouldn't he be the guy that you can go inside to? And he often is. And I don't think like he seems to have also turned it up, man. He started the year kind of he looked a little bit off for him, and he's really picked it up. Like as I look right now at his game log, the last 4 games, 27 points, 20, then 10 against Michigan State, and then 19 today. Like he's also rebounding like a monster. I mean, he had a stretch there starting with Maryland where he had 10, 8, 19, 12, 12. I mean, I feel like I guess what I come back to, not to leap ahead, but you talk about them being too dependent on the 3, but that's basketball today. I feel like that's college basketball. That's all basketball today. Everybody's relying on it, and Purdue has the shooters. They have the shooters. Like there's no reason that can't work for Purdue.
100%.
Right?
And that's why Ken Palm still loves Purdue. They're still top 8 in Ken Palm. I think they're still a top 5 offense.
Yep.
But
they're top. Yeah. Go ahead.
Top 3? Are they
2.
like
2?
2. Are they number 2?
They're number 2.
So like so first it's like when the 3 isn't going down, you have to be a lot more decisive. A huge part of defense is also grabbing defensive rebounds, is also ending possessions. Like that is among the most underplayed part of what makes a good defense, right? And Oscar Clef being in foul trouble today, and no other Jacobson not getting any playing time, just being in the doghouse, is like that. What's his name? Liam Murphy saw playing time today instead of Jacobson, and Purdue went super small. There was no traditional. I believe it was his minutes, but when he was on the court, there wasn't a traditional center on there. And it's like that part of it, the lack of inside, even like backline presence and that defensive rebounding is huge. And then they just attack Fletcher on defense every time. He's put in the pick and roll every time. Off ball screens cause his man to be open, and they are always going to that player. That was true against Michigan. That was true against Michigan State. Now true against Ohio State. That's tough, man. And that is also, usually I think I'm okay, even though CJ Cox didn't have a great game, like defensively today. It's like he is somebody that I'm fully comfortable with, and so it's like if they were to slot in, if Cox or if what's his name
Benter.
didn't break his wrist, Benter. Hopefully Benter didn't really damage his wrist, but it's like slide him into the starting lineup, right? Like find a new 2-3, like that.
Change the starting lineup now.
Something needs to change because there is no urgency. Like the urgency thing is tough, and maybe it is the seniors saying, okay, fine, like it's March, we got to do this. Like maybe that's the change, but here it's like, man, it is just it was frustrating. It was really frustrating.
You mentioned Murphy getting playing time, and that actually reminds me of something I'd like to bring up. That I don't know how long it was, but there was a point, and Bodram mentioned this in his post game, but I noticed it during the game. Painter at one point in the second half there, I think when he put in Murphy, he had he had the big three, such as they're called, all on the bench. He had TKR, Lawyer, and Smith on the bench at the same time. And I would just like to bring that up because there were people who said during this season when they had these little like lulls saying, sit them down, got to bench guys, got to put them on the, got to sit them down. Yeah, you could do that. And that's not your best team on the floor. Like that's such a weird, like, sixth grade coaching method where you're like, all right, we're going to sit everybody down and we're going to teach you a lesson. That's not how it works at this level. And it's silly. Like if Painter was sitting guys like that regularly, you'd be calling for his job for that. And so
100%. Not
instead,
regular.
we're going
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
like you got to ride with these guys. And it's not like I'm saying that like, that's all you got. You got to ride with them. Like, I think they've earned that. I think they've earned that. Like that's the thing I think is when I talk about people keeping things in perspective, and you've also got this narrative, this like facet of people out there. And I saw this on Twitter today, people being like, oh, is it okay to be mad now? Or is the, the everything's fine people are going to tell me to, I'm like, there's a difference between saying everything's fine and saying, let's keep perspective here on things. This is the winningest class. You were watching the winningest class in Purdue basketball history. And I don't just mean that in a wins and losses, standpoint. They took Purdue to the national title game, this group. Okay. So maybe they deserve a little bit of your, I don't know, grace. I don't know what the word is. And my son said this to me today. He said, when you start the season number 1, there's nowhere to go but
nowhere
down.
else. Yep.
Last year,
Nowhere else to go.
18, something like that. And they stayed up there, had a really fun year because there was no expectations. And then they came within a bucket of knocking out Houston in the Sweet 16, right?
That's actually like, and again, if the regular season Big Ten title still means a good amount to me. That went out the window with that 3-game losing streak, right?
That was it.
And so now it's like, can you shape up in March? The Big Ten tournament is a meaningless tournament that should not. I could not care less about it. It really is like, is Purdue going to have the March that that everybody that's worrying right now is fearing, which is the 3 seed that everybody picks as the upset in the first round, right? Or like in the first, with the 3 seed that doesn't make it to the second weekend. I can see that, but I can also see this team like just steamrolling teams like Nebraska and Iowa, that type of level, until they get to the Sweet 16. And then it becomes games like this, which are going to be close, but and kind of could go either way, right? The most likely path for this, or the most likely finish for this team, is still the second weekend. I don't think that has changed because of just how experienced, to your point, how experienced they are. And they are not afraid of big games, and they are not also afraid of pressure. Like they are the winningest class in Purdue basketball history. They've also had the worst loss in Purdue basketball history, right? And so it's like they've seen everything.
They've seen everything.
They've been through everything. So it's like, in that way, I still have complete confidence. And in March, you always, if in doubt, again, like either have Zach Edey or you have a guard with the ball in his hands at all times that is comfortable, that you are comfortable with making decisions. And Purdue does have that, right? And he isn't, it's not a signature shot like Carson's, logo shot from the logo, but it's like, when you need a bucket, if you can't get it to Trey Kaufman-Renn, like that Braden Smith mid-range, like Steve Nash kind of shot, like fadeaway, is like, it wasn't going down today, but it is good. It is as good as automatic as you can get. And these are the things in March, when, like, in the tournament, that matter. And at this point, that's what we're watching. Like, that's what we're watching for, right?
Right. We say that every year, like guard play, right? In the NCAA tournament, people talk about guard play. And so you have that. And the other thing with the tournament that I come back to, for those who are saying, wow, they're gonna flame out early, besides what you were just documenting, the history that they have and the experience that they have, which is pretty important, all the experience in the tournament that they have, you've also got a team where the stuff that was true as far as the players that they have, the stuff that was true in December, when we were all like, when they were beating Texas Tech by 30, and we were like, my gosh, there are so many weapons. That's still all true. That's still all there. And do you really need them all to fire? No. But like, think about a scenario where Braden's playing a typical Braden game. TKR is playing what's become a typical game down the stretch here for him. Okay, let's
Mhm.
assume those happen. Those are pretty reliable things. If anyone else, like I don't know, Fletcher Lawyer, hits and is striking and puts up 20, let's say, that's very, very hard to beat. That's
Yeah.
almost impossible to beat. If that happens in tournament games, they're going to win without a problem. Somebody has
And
to,
that's why
but
that's why you'd be okay going into the tournament, especially if Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4 are the goals here, like, with a top 5 top 2 offense, right? That is the
right,
upside.
right,
Uh,
right.
um, my favorite I know I haven't potted this year only about basketball. I love Omer Meyer. I think he is going to be such a beast.
She's so fun.
I wish that, um he when he is the only ball hand like when Smith is on the bench and he is on the floor, I wish he would just take full control. Because he is that good. He makes I completely trust him with the ball. He is amazing. So there and he was extremely quiet today. So these are things. The other thing also is that actually like today's loss did bother me. Like today's loss was not fun.
No,
It was not enjoyable at all. Like there was no silver lining to me, like to this game. I did not have fun, even though Purdue came close to. That's how good Purdue is. To me, like the vibes were completely off all game, and they still like with 2 minutes left, the two or whatever 2.5 minutes left, they were making a run that was about to steal the game, and then they couldn't. They couldn't.
right,
You dug yourself into way too deep of a hole to do that, right?
right,
The Michigan State loss, actually, I felt okay about that. Michigan State is a really good team,
right.
and the looks that Purdue got, the 3-point looks in particular that Purdue got are not ones that they typically miss. It was good action. It resulted in good shots, and Purdue just didn't hit them. That's all you can ask. And against a great team, Michigan State this year, and for the first time in years, like Michigan State has a very, very good team. Like that's how the ball rolls sometimes. I don't mind that loss. But today I was
Yeah, I
kind of
mean,
hoping to come to the pod saying like, "Hey, we beat Ohio State on the road, and the Michigan State loss wasn't that big of a deal." And now it's like, this doesn't.
well,
This
they
is
what they did here, and I'm always the one who's like trying to apply logic to things. Like when I look at their losses, you can't excuse the Iowa State loss. Can't excuse that performance. There's no way around it. Iowa State's good, and that's fine.
not that
When they
good.
lost to UCLA, those West Coast swings are tough. They had just won a tough
Happens.
game at USC. They lost 69-67 to UCLA on a last 5-10 second three. Like
Mhm.
those things happen. UCLA is not a bad team, despite some of their losses. They're not a bad team at home. Let's put it that way. So, like, I can live with that one. Illinois, they lose by 6 when Wegler scores 46
Uh,
points.
yeah.
And you'll
It
always have people who are like, well, because you can't play defense. I'm like, okay, but if the dude just scores 36 points, Purdue
yeah.
wins that game. They
If
still
a top
almost found a
if a
way.
top 5 pick walks into Mackey and almost drops 50,
I
yeah,
just look at that like, okay, they didn't play. And the other thing that people quickly forget, I don't have the stats in front of me, but Purdue played a really efficient game. They shot like over 50%. I think they had 3 turnovers. That was a really good game played by Purdue. And you'll always have the people who are like, but their defense was terrible. Guy scored 46 points of their 88. Like, okay, I can live with that one too. Indiana loss at Indiana, it's
that's a
harder to
that
justify.
I can't live
Harder
with
to
that one.
justify. Michigan, you can't really argue about
It's
losing.
okay.
And Michigan
Yeah.
State, as you said, I can't fault them too badly. I do fault those last 3 offensive possessions. Two of the 3. Benter
Yeah.
shoots like a 30-foot 3, which again, I don't hate it as much as a lot of people did because he can hit that. And they're down a point. It was like 30 seconds left, and he takes that shot. Then they get the ball into TKR, which is what you want. And he just kind of
It was
misses his little bunny in the lane. It was what he
I'd
wanted.
take
It
that
just hit the
shot
back of the
I'd take
rim.
that shot
Right.
10 times out of 10.
I would have liked that at the end of the game when instead they call timeout with 3 seconds left. And I did see a good analysis of this that said you have to have a really good play drawn up because a Michigan State defense that has now had a timeout to get set, They only have to defend for 3 seconds. So nobody's going to be open, right? And if you watch that play, Lawyer throws it in and then just kind of casually steps in bounds. Like there was no like Fletcher throw it in and then go somewhere and get the ball, right? So there was never a thought that he was going to take the shot, which isn't great. And the other thing I thought about that was it looked to me like Braden thought he had 1 second, not 3. He got the ball, dribbled once, had a guy right in front of him and bombed. I still think with 3 seconds, you could really quickly drive left, get a little bit of separation, and at least take a better shot than what he took. That's what bothered me about that loss was the complete like lack of anything at the end of the game. When you had 3 really good chances to take the lead? I mean, you had the ball in your hands 3 times in the final minute to take the lead.
And I also get it in that like you want to be the hero. And I am also the one who like hates this. You were down 2. Like you don't need you don't need
that, you don't need a 3 here.
That is the one time you actually don't need a 3. Like you can like take a step in and like again Braden's like mid-range. I'm completely fine with even a contested
and maybe get fouled. Drive and put it up. You might get the call. I agree. That was very weird. I think the bigger problem people have, because we can sit here justifying those losses all we want. I think a very fair thing to say is maybe not that any of those were not understandable losses, but the fact that you went 0-4 against the 4 best teams that came into Mackey this year, all won.
You had that short where it was it wasn't since the 2020 season that
2020 they lost 5 at home. That's the last time.
Yeah, the loss to history. That never happened. The season that never happened. Like that, I mean, then Purdue has lost more than 4 games in Mackey.
And they still have 1 to Mackey against Wisconsin.
I mean, so I think Purdue goes 2-0, you know, at the end here and puts to rest a little bit. But
I think so too.
They're not going to be, but not a cakewalk.
But Wisconsin has beaten the top of the conference. Somehow they've also lost to the bottom of the conference. But they've beaten Illinois and Michigan, right? Illinois and Michigan, I believe. Like no, Michigan State. No,
who did they Michigan beat? State. That's what I thought. Yeah,
they beat Michigan, and they're the only team to beat Michigan. So I mean, that's not a walkover win. More than a little nervous. I'll be there, by the way. I'll be at senior night.
Oh, look at you.
You know that. Don't pretend you just heard that for the first time.
I know. Look at you going on with J Money Jr. going on an actual college tour, too.
That's right. We're doing an actual Purdue college tour on Saturday morning. My wife said to me, I think you should take him on an actual tour of Purdue, not where you and Anish take him. And I was like, he's seen all he needs to see.
AJ's. He's seen. What does he need to see? The library.
Triple X, the Den. He's always like, I'm ready to get my Den pop. I'm like, this kid knows everything he needs to know about this place. But no, I guess seeing some academic buildings, he'll have seen as many as I've seen when to go on this tour. So that's whatever. So yes, we'll be touring campus on Saturday. If you're around, give us a shout. If you're walking campus and you see a group of people touring, I'll be in the Boyle Sports jacket. Oh, the other thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned. Two things. One, you talked about the Big Ten tournament meaning nothing. I said that as well. The only thing I'll say about that is that right now Purdue is the 5 seed, I believe. Let me take a look here. 5 seed.
Right now, yeah.
But they're teetering, right? They're right there. Mm-hmm. But if the seeding is as it is today, Purdue would await the winner of Washington and Minnesota in their first game. So you have to hope that's a win.
There's a win, I hope.
If you win that game, you then get Illinois. And I'm not – no, but
I want to crack at them.
I'd take another swing at Illinois. I actually would like that because you talk about what can you get out of the Big Ten tournament? You could feel better about yourself. You can certainly feel worse too, but you could feel better about things. If you win that first game and then you beat Illinois, and then I think you'd have to face I think then you're going to end up facing like Michigan or Michigan State or somebody else.
I'd say a state, yeah.
Yeah, but I'd take another swing at Illinois. I mean, I really would. So I think
I will always. I'm not ever particularly afraid of Illinois. They're always very good.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, I can't. Maybe there was one player in the Underwood era that I have liked. This Wagler kid is like, oh my, he is like everything that I love. Yes. Like He is my exact brand of player, and he walked into Mackey and almost he dropped half a century. Oh my gosh, I really like him. So, like, for once, like, they have a team I respect, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're incredibly talented. They're incredibly talented. They
Yeah,
still have Bruce Underwood as their coach though, so they're only going to go so
yeah,
far.
oh,
I love seeing these projections, having them in the Final Four or the title game, and I'm like, they have the talent for it. There's no doubt about that. But this is the guy who gave up like a 40-0 run or whatever that was
he
to UConn, which
okay, I genuinely don't know this. He has had among the most talented teams every single year. Has he won the Big Ten?
I don't think so.
I was about to say I don't think he's won the Big Ten despite having incredible talent every year. And then this is also like my the Fran
Friend corollary.
Fran, yeah, the Fran corollary, yes, exactly, which is that Fran has somehow coached for more than 3 decades and never made the second weekend of the tournament. It's like it astounding. It's the most astounding stat that I've ever heard in my
It's
life.
one of my. I was the one who kept publicizing that. That's one of your favorites. I just kept.
It is my favorite, and now I love Iowa's coach. Like, Iowa's coach is the guy that IU should if IU ended up with him, I would have been terrified. He is amazing.
Or if they'd end up with Dusty May. Like if you're an IU fan, you have to look around at some of these Big Ten hires and be like, man, did we whiff?
I mean, Dusty is extremely unlikable and runs an extremely unlikable program, it turns out. So, like, nope, no thank
Everyone
you.
says that. Why do people dislike Dusty May so much?
I don't like the style of play.
Okay.
I really don't the roster construction, and also it's like it is not the other Big Ten coaches and programs do not like him because there are words about how he assembles his roster, how he and Michigan assembles that roster
I
that
see.
nobody really respects.
By the
Which,
way,
fine, whatever.
right. To answer your question, this is Brad Underwood. I called him Bruce Underwood. Brad Underwood. This is his 9th season at Illinois. He did win. He tied for the conference title in 22. They and Wisconsin tied for it, and Purdue was a game back. So that would be
Who was
4
on that?
years ago.
Who was on that team? Wow. Okay.
The Illinois team?
Yeah.
Illinois, their roster. Let's see here. Roster. I don't even like none of these names.
Like, I don't remember that team having a stand like 22, 23.
Coburn.
I don't know.
Kofi Cockburn Coburn.
Oh, yeah, Kofi was there. That wasn't okay. Yeah. I mean,
they were good.
I mean, good for him. Hey, he's got a share of a Big Ten title. Shout out.
Got a share of one. Exactly.
Yes. Half of one. That's fine. I like his team this year. I like Illinois this year. If they're going to make a run, actually, I wouldn't bet like betting on this team wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, the worst move in the world to me. But yeah, I still professionally disrespect Iowa. Or I mean Illinois. Sorry, that was a Freudian.
And
slip.
Iowa.
Yes,
and
but
Iowa. It will be hilarious if Iowa advances past the first weekend.
I hope it happens. I really hope it happens. I will be cheering for it. I'll be wearing black and gold. Yes.
I love to remind Iowa alums that Fran is the all-time winningest coach in Iowa history. That's what happens when you let a guy hang around that long. Oof, now you gotta always be like, that's our guy. He's the all-time winningest coach here.
In that,
where are we going to put the statue? It's hard to win that much.
Paper mache statue.
It's hard to win that much and keep your job when you don't go anywhere. He never won a Big Ten title either, by the way, in all those years.
The 30-year or whatever, like coaching, near 30-year coaching career and never being in the second. It's like you don't keep the job for that long. It's just astounding. It's just
keep getting hired. That's the incredible thing. One last thing on Ken Pom. Purdue is 7th through, let me refresh this, through 22 of 23 games played on Sunday, March 1st, because Ken Pom's awesome and they're always updating. Purdue is still ranked 7th in Ken Pom. Just sharing that with you all. They're number 2 offensive, number 33 defensively. And I mentioned that for all the people who talk about, and our title of the show is Defense Lived Here because it's funny. But 33rd out of 340 teams is really not that terrible. I know.
It's not great. You need it. You need it to be better, but it's not a joke.
It's the worst of the top 10 teams. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that. But you know who also is 30th? Illinois. But Illinois happens to be, that's what's really interesting. Illinois is number 1 in offensive KenPom ranking, and Purdue is 2, and they are 30th in defense, and Purdue is 33rd. Then you have Duke up there, who's 6th offense, 1st defense. Michigan is 4th on offense, 2nd on defense. My goodness.
I mean, Michigan's a buzzsaw. I don't enjoy Dusty, but Michigan's a beast.
I mean, and going back to the seed thing, I think your top 3 are already set. Duke, Michigan, Arizona. There's no way that's changing. Florida is probably your 4th number 1 because they're the 4th ranked team, and I don't know who's going to jump them because from there it goes Illinois, Houston, Purdue, Iowa State, who just had another tough loss. Then Michigan State, Connecticut. People kept talking about Connecticut being up there. They may still get it because they're 27-3. They're 27-3, and the Dan Hurley effect. But if you go by KenPom, they shouldn't be.
You know, I know it's different because he's won 2 titles and everything, but how Boiler Down feels about Mark Few and Gonzaga is how I feel about UConn. It's like, oh, great record. Can you play in a conference? Can you play in a conference that doesn't like just beat up on Butler and DePaul? You know what I mean? Like it is so, but that's not.
Well, that's
fair.
how you go 27-3.
I know.
That's how you just 27-3, and you're only 10th in KenPom. That's exactly how, and that's how Purdue is 22-6 and is 7th because they're playing in a much tougher because strength of schedule. Let's take a look at strength of schedule. Purdue is 9th.
Yeah,
9. UConn is 31.
And again, this last stretch of 6 games where Purdue went 3-3, like that is about the hardest stretch that you can take in the Big Ten this year, right?
Yeah.
And again, not great, 3-3, especially for a team to start off number 1 in the country. But the Iowa State loss, those expectations should have been adjusted. And so now it's like, okay, let's make a run. Like let's focus on March. Let's use the experience on the roster. Let's make a run. And so again, the Michigan, like you ran through this, the UCLA loss to me, it is what it is. Like you're always going to drop one like that in the Big Ten. Illinois, when a player has an all-time game, that happens. I can't do the Indiana loss, and I can't do this Ohio State loss. Those are the two that really chafe.
I'm going to get to comments in just a minute here, but before I do, I'm going to go to one just completely out of order here because let me see, I just lost it. Oh, T Camel 18 has a couple comments here, which I just want to bring this up because you just brought up how much you like Omar, who's good at the 2, but I don't think he can run point at this level.
He's played at the highest. He's played at the highest level in Europe before his 18th birthday. Yeah, I think he can play at this level.
I think you're going to see him at the point all the time next year. I don't know who else would run it. Like, there's another comment in here saying that Ertl's going to be.
If he wants to play at the next level, he's a ball handling, like he's a lead ball handler. Yeah. So let me jump back here. Take a look at a few comments we have here. Todd Singer's here. He thanks us for doing the show tonight. That's very nice. Thanks, Todd. Appreciate that. See, more of you should thank us. Okay. Thank us for doing 1 pod a month, and don't worry about Boiler Down doing 3 pods a week. It's fine.
I have jumped in on a couple post games, and when I do, everyone's like, "Oh, where did he go? Why is this guy here?" I'm like, "All right, that's fine."
I know.
Joe Hensley, going back to your opening story about playing 5s, he says games to 11, no stamina, and I'm going to say I thought this too. That was in my head because we never played to 11.
I'm not thrilled.
We played to 15.
I'm not thrilled with 11. You played a 15.
That's what we did at Purdue.
1s and 2s.
On my rickety body, but
there was a couple people do 12s, like run to 12, and I'm like, what is happening here? Like 11, I at least get it. Like, you get to 10, you hit a winner. Like, sure. I get it. I get the logic. But like 12? What is 12? Anyway, okay. So just getting on my rant.
Boiler Bugle says, my youth league plays, this will make your skin crawl, plays 6 periods so everyone gets equal time. That is awful. And that's probably driven by roster size. You probably have like 15 players on the roster. It's just like, it's my rant about T-ball with baseball when we don't keep score. I'm not saying we have to keep score because we have to bash each other's heads in, but how do you learn a game if you don't know how people win? Sorry. So you're going to get me going on one.
We play to win the game is really the lesson.
JP Boiler has a great piece of advice. He says, hey, maybe we should all just go back to enjoying the game. The basketball team could be the football team. Now, listen, I don't want to always go down that road because that's, yeah, you're right. And a meteor could hit us tomorrow. So you could always have that sort of, you know what I mean?
Hey, by the way, J Money, did you renew your football season tickets? Are you an idiot? Are you a moron and renewed your Purdue football season tickets? What an idiot!
Held out. You had to renew by March 1st. On the Friday night, the 27th, we're messaging each other like, oh, I guess I got to do this. And what I love is that I renewed at the last possible minute. And in the back of my stupid head, I was like, I showed them. I held out till almost March for a season that starts in August. Way to show them.
Oh, my God. We're morons. We're such idiots. I think I told you this story, but the short of it is that Pitt just hired somebody from Purdue. I had lunch with him. I said, hey, like, I just renewed my season tickets, and he took a beat, and he was like, for football? And he was like, yeah, okay, you're a Purdue guy. Yep, I get it. What idiots. Anyway, yes, it could be football season. Be happy that it's basketball.
Yeah, so we'll be back. But the thing I struggled with was, if it's anything like last year, you could buy any game you want for $10. So what are we doing? Holding our seats.
I don't know, man. Yeah, our seat backs, our location.
Because we like our seats and our seat backs. That's really what it comes down to.
And my rep. I like my rep. He's real nice. He's real good.
Right. You don't want to let him down.
I don't want to break up with him. You know what I mean?
Noodle Boiler says Big Ten tournament now matters for the Boilers. I don't think it does. I don't think it does. Like I said, I don't mind.
To your point, it's confidence. That's a good.
I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind getting a swing at some of these teams when you're the 1 seed and it doesn't matter at all, and you have a 1 locked up. Then it really doesn't.
So matter. I do want to talk about this. I don't know if we actually talked about this on the podcast. It's a great idea. I think that, your idea, or somebody's on the chat, was that the top 4 seeds in regular season standings in the Big Ten do not play in the Big Ten tournament. Yes. Everybody else does. Because the top 4 are clearly the best teams. The champion is the champion, and the other 3 tried and did not win. And they're already, if you're at the top 4 in the Big Ten, you are in the tournament. You're fine.
And if you were a top 4 in the Big Ten and you need the tournament, then sucks to suck.
Yeah, exactly.
The Big Ten has somehow fallen apart. So I just would say that. But
the other part is like so let's say Purdue ends up with the 4 seed. Purdue is like this year's Purdue is the exact kind of team that shouldn't be allowed to celebrate a Big Ten tournament title. Like this team has frittered away a Big Ten regular season title. We should not celebrate we should not get the chance to celebrate a single elimination tournament. We should finish 4th, and we should feel a little bit dejected and go in, lick our wounds, get ready for the actual tournament. That is what should happen. It's a great idea. The top 4 in the Big Ten don't play in the Big Ten tournament. It's great.
Because there's no way you have any the thing that's stupid with these big conference, like when Kentucky won however many they won in a row, right, under Calipari. There was a run there where they won like 10 of them in a row or something. There's no time in the history of the Big Ten tournament that a team that really needed it, like this year's Indiana or this year's Ohio State, a team that's like, all right, they're, if they were in the tournament, you wouldn't really bitch that much, but they might not make it, where they ran through and they really needed it and they won it. Okay, that doesn't ever
the one Michigan team. That's it, right? That was it. We went through the archives, and that was there was only one team. It was the exception
that the tournament.
They weren't not going to make the tournament. No, but
that's my point.
They really vaulted on that.
I was saying this to my son. I was like, a team running through that doesn't belong there. I like when that happens. I like it when a team qualifies from one of these lower conferences that you're like, I've seen it happen where they're 13 and 16 and they're in the NCAA tournament, and you're like, that's freaking cool. That's what makes
it's the legend. It's the legend of Kemba Walker, right? That is where the legend of Kemba Walker started, right? He ran through the Big East tournament, he won it. UConn was absolutely not going to make the tournament that year, and then they ended up winning the title.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
that is a legendary run, but it's like, that doesn't happen often.
Doesn't happen in the Big Ten for sure.
Not
Right.
Definitely
Like,
not in the Big Ten.
if this year's Ohio State team, I'm talking about, these are teams that are like, Ohio State could beat most of these teams on any given day, right? If Ohio
100%.
State or Indiana won it, that would be like, oh wow, that never happens. What
And that
really
bumps
never
them up a
happened is,
seed.
oh, for sure. Well, I say for sure, but the Big Ten tournament never matters. You just automatically get in,
Yeah, exactly.
right? But I mean, you've never seen like a crap Minnesota or Northwestern or somebody run through this tournament. It's just not possible. So that's why I think you shave off the top of it and say, okay, let's make this an actual fun thing where somebody might win it that you're not expecting to win it. That's the whole thing there.
I want to shout out Chris Collins. Speaking of people that, wow, he's still there, dude. He's still in the league. Wow.
I looked it up recently when we were talking about that. I think he's the second winningest coach in Northwestern history already. He's also got the only tournament wins they've ever had. He's been there twice, I think, and won a game both times. So I give him a little, that's, gets in and they win a game. He's not going anywhere, man. Unless how do you fire him when he gets them into the tournament? I think if they're bad this year, if they're really bad again next year, then right, they'd start talking about it probably. But yeah, talk about unlikable guys too. That's another perfect fit. He belongs at a school maybe that you dislike more than Northwestern.
Yeah, exactly. Northwestern, I don't really feel much about. Yeah,
I don't even care. And I know they beat Purdue with some sort of, it feels like regularity. It's not really that regular, but they seem to like rise up. They beat Edie twice, right?
It's like Rutgers too. What? It's like, somehow Rutgers manages it, but like, I don't care. Ohio State's a little bit more annoying because this dates back to when I was when the Baby Boilers were in college. And it's like, you just can't win in that stupid arena. That stupid professional,
Greg McManus is here, commenting under Greg Mick0531. Boyle Dad pointed this out. The names from YouTube got very weird, so it's not always easy to tell who's who. But he says, you'll love this one. He says, from the socials, Braden is a jerk for saying he's a millionaire. Fire all the defensive staff, and life sucks. Did I miss anything? I think he's doing a summary of what the show would be about. And yes, I saw that clip too. And yes, it is a little unbecoming to say, F you, man, I'm a millionaire. But I saw someone tweet it. I think the one that really gave it the boost on Twitter, or maybe the one of the first ones to put it up. And it said, this is not what this is not what a senior leader point guard does. And I was like, I think those two things are totally separate. Like,
yeah, I think
I don't think
just
it has
a college
anything
kid.
To do with,
yeah,
I don't think it has anything to do with whether he's a good point guard, senior leader, whatever. I don't think you can say, I think you're saying that because there've been some losses you haven't liked. That being said, if Braden Smith was on another team, I am pretty sure we would really not like him. And I understand people feeling that way. That's, I guess, where I'll leave it. I can understand.
But he's our guy.
He's our guy. Right? He's our douche. So, we're fine with it. Adam is here from AJ's. He says, not a bad idea. Patio bar for all the summer traffic. I like this idea.
We're an ideas podcast.
This is
we're
right.
A big picture podcast.
I say that all the time. I say that in work meetings sometimes. I'll be like, I'm an ideas guy because I don't really know how to do the thing I'm suggesting. I just think, what if we did this? People are like, oh, crap, now we got to do that. Yeah. I love this one. Greg, we love Greg. Greg comes in, and I love this. In a game like today, I miss having a volume shooter. Those type of guys are hit and miss, but Carson could have sparked something. You're kidding. You think Carson Edwards could have made a difference?
I mean, like Zach Edey. Yes, yeah, Carson Edwards, Zach Edey.
I like
those
that
would be great players to have. Yeah,
man, it'd be great if we could have one of the greatest scorers the program's ever seen.
But it's like, if it would be nice if Fletcher was a teensy bit more steady. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the takeaway. Yeah. Not that we need Carson Edwards back, though. I would love Carson Edwards.
Though I think he has a year of eligibility left, and everybody else seems to be able to come back to school. So,
I mean,
Joe Ensley speaking this is secretly, Joe. You're going to learn that this is something that Anish sort of secretly likes. He sort of secretly likes this. Joe says, "Are you calling for the bingo with the loss to the 14th seed?"
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Now.
Hold on. Let's pull up the big.
He got the hardest ones. He got the hardest ones out of the way. The 16 and the 15 are done. The career bingo of losing to every seed. You do have a chart for this, don't you? You do have a table.
Yep, I have it. Let's see. Where's the loss? Where are the losses? I have it somewhere. I will dig it up.
I mean, I can remember a lot of them and he's gotten the two hardest out of the way because you don't even see 16s and 15s, right? Like it's hard to even. It's first round or
So,
in that.
yes. So he's gotten 11, 12, 13, 15, 16. He doesn't have
Holy
14.
shit.
I didn't realize he didn't have 14. I knew he didn't have 10. So those are the bingo card for the double digit losses. Hey, you can
Well,
lose to nines and stuff like that. Yeah.
by the way, if you're a 2, the 10 is in the second round. Just putting that out there.
It's 10 and 14 are the ones on the bingo card. Oh, God.
Hey, at least we can laugh about this stuff because,
Because Zach Edey existed. Again, I thank the lucky stars that Zach Edey was in my life. I need to replace one of these posters, which somebody commented and said was cool. I agree. With Zach Edey, just like his holiness. I love him so much.
I have seen a few people in the comments saying Edie covered up a lot of things, and it's like, but
Maybe,
like, but that
everybody
doesn't
was
make
there
any
too.
of that. But it doesn't make any of the accomplishments not count. This whole like weird. It's just like the people who, and I put on this on Twitter today. It's like I'll see the simultaneous arguments that Purdue loses to good teams, but then people will act like the win over Texas Tech doesn't count. Like they beat Texas Tech by 30. So if that win doesn't count, why does the loss to Iowa State count? That was also in December. Why do we pick and choose what matters? And this, my friends, is why analytics are actually a good thing. And I'm not a heavy like analytics are everything. I am actually not that way. I'm a baseball guy in general. Like I love baseball, and analytics have affected that game in a way that I don't love. I do think they tell you the story of totality. They tell you a season. That's why they're so great for baseball, because it says, who really was good at this? Yeah, this guy, because over 162 games, this is what made him the MVP, right? I also think that's what gives you, that's why I keep referring to KenPom, because it's about the whole season. It's not about the last 6 games, guys. It's not about that. It's yeah, that influences things sometimes. And the human side of seeding can say, they're trending in the wrong direction. We're going to move them down a line. Yes, I'm not arguing that can't happen. But I think when you're talking about the top teams in the country, their resume is what it is. Now, if you lose Northwestern, that's not great. But if you win that game and you win the Wisconsin game, your resume is very solid. It's very solidly in the top 10 at a minimum, maybe top 8. So I think, again, it's about perspective, everybody. It's about the totality. That win over Texas Tech before they lost one of the best players in the country is really good. That's a really good win. It's still a really good win. Beating Indiana, who's a tournament bubble team, by 30 is actually a pretty good win, right? Beating Maryland, who's not that good, by 30. Those games still count, guys. And I'm not even talking about the games they played in late December against like Akron and teams like that they beat by 30 and 40 points. Those games all happened, everyone. So it is possible. Some of those teams are the type of team you might play in the first round. So like,
exactly.
I'm just saying, let's keep it all in perspective, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Agreed here.
There's a lot of comments in here.
I was laughing off camera. I was laughing because one of the more recent ones made me laugh, and I'm not going to say it because it's making fun of me.
Well, now I need to find it.
Yeah, you got to find it. You'll find it eventually. But yeah.
You're not going to point it out to me?
Nope, I'm not going to point it out. Nope. You can find it on your own, or you can drive the show. I'm not going to do either one.
Joe Ensley asks, to our solution, he says, would the NCAA committee allow that, the whole shaving off the top 4? Will they still let the BTT winner have the at-large bid? Look, I don't know. This is all fantasy land, but if you're the Big Ten, you have a lot of power, and you could say this is actually, I think the answer is the conferences determine who gets their auto bid. That's actually how it works. When there was no conference tournament,
because some of them have don't do the regular season winner. They only do the tournament.
They all only do the tournament winner. That's why Miami of Ohio, people are worried about, because if they go 32-0 and then lose in their conference tournament, there are actually people out there arguing that maybe they shouldn't make it. Now, they have a pretty shitty KenPom total, but you can't take a team that played Division I college basketball and won 32 games. I would like to just say this for a minute. I don't care how bad their strength of schedule is, and it's bad. It's bad. Let me be clear.
but you
Winning
win. You win them
32
all.
games in a row at any level, guys, any level. I don't care if you dropped, Purdue down to Division II. 32 games in a row is very, very hard. And that deserves, I don't care if you want to say, okay, they're no better than a 12. All right, fine. And then they probably get absolutely freaking waxed by like Arkansas or something, or BYU or somebody just mops the floor with them. But fine, then you all get proven right, but they belong in the tournament, right? This is now we're swinging too far the other way, where we were letting teams into the college football playoff. People are like, they shouldn't be there. This isn't the NCAA tournament. And I can see that argument, right? Maybe some of these teams that clearly have shown they probably don't belong there, but they earned it because of their conference win. There aren't 68 bids in the football tournament. So maybe there should be more credence given to it there. Now we're starting to swing the other way. We're in the basketball tournament. We're going to say a team that went 32-0 is so. Sorry. That's and they're in the MAC. It's not like it's not a great conference, but like it's not one of these automatically one bid leagues. It's not the Patriot League. It's not one of those. It's still the MAC. Like some teams come out of the MAC. Like so,
I would buy a MAC. So I feel like home field. I feel like home field should sell a MAC sweatshirt, and I would absolutely buy it.
It's just about the MAC
for the Big Sky. It's just the MAC. Yeah, celebrating the conference. I would buy a MAC.
How about just
MAC? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Free ideas. Just always coming out from this podcast.
Ideas, man. Are there any more comments you want to talk about before we end on a note?
I mean, Boiler Dad is in the comments. He couldn't join us. So someone asked about that. No. If they were going to if Boiler Dad got the night off, and someone said it was a mental health night off, and I think you guys hit the nail on the head right there.
Honestly, yeah, it kind of is. He's got to not do this. Like we've got to give him a break.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl, Greg points it out. It was Bruce Pearl, who always just a fountain of knowledge, said that Miami should be excluded if they don't win the MAC tournament. And you know what? That's just another.
You know who should be included? His idiot son, who went 500 in the SEC.
That merit hire at Auburn, who, by the way, is still in the projected field when they've lost like 5 of 6 or something. Like, yeah, not. I mean,
are they?
They were as of this morning. Because I saw people mocking it. I saw people just dragging it on Twitter. But that whole Bruce Pearl thing, like, this is a product not only of him being an idiot, but also of the takes culture, right? People have to say things that generate chatter and generate interest. So if you said, yeah, they've earned it, that's not exciting enough. You have to suggest that a 32-0 team shouldn't make the tournament. Like, you have to say that to try to get people to pay attention to you. And I know that sounds lazy to say, oh, they're just saying it about clicks. It is what he's doing, though. So,
well, but a selfless guy like Bruce Pearl would never do that. No. Anyway, continue.
No. Before we do wrap, just to pivot back, we mentioned coming back to like complete idiots, coming back to football this fall. And one of the things you and I have not been on yet since the news of Rondale Moore passing came across. And we made all our jokes about nobody comes into Ross-Ade. We started doing that when, I think it was during the Hazel era.
It was during the Hazel era when actually nobody came into Ross-Ade. Yes.
And then it got really fun. And one of the reasons that it was really fun was Rondale Moore. And it was actually, I think one of Boiler Dad's brothers said, he said he was one of those people who every time the ball was in his hands, you felt, and it wasn't just you knew something exciting could happen. If you were in Ross-Ade, there was a like murmur. There was a like, oh shit, he's got the ball, right? Like every time, if the ball was kicked to him, if it was thrown to him, it did not matter. Like there was a chance he was going to do something unbelievable. And Boiler Dad did a really great job talking about him.
It was such a good one. Yeah.
And I like that he tried to actually steer away from talking all about his football stuff, because clearly Rondale struggled with a lot of things and wrapped up a lot of his value in what he could do on the field. And it saddens me. It saddens all of us to think about someone not realizing that, I sit here and I want to say, I wish he knew the amount of joy that he brought to this fan base. And not even just this fan base. I remember Ohio State fans acknowledging how amazing he was. Ohio State alums I've heard since say, "Hey, I want to play with that guy in the future." Like he brought so much joy to so many people, and yet at the same time I understand I wouldn't want him to think that was his only value here, right? Because it clearly wasn't. It was a guy who was one of the hardest working people. He was someone everyone loved being around. He was someone who really cared. You talk about players caring, and putting effort in. He so clearly cared and wanted to be good and wanted to be great and wanted to win. And the story, and it's on his Instagram feed, buying his mom a house. That was his goal, and he did it. Like, that's not about being a football player. That's about being a good person and a good son and caring and remembering who helped you get there. And I just wish that he knew and understood those things before it was too late.
It was a legend, a Purdue legend, the man, a Purdue legend before the Ohio State game kickoff, like a Purdue great, maybe not legend, but a Purdue great before that Ohio State game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so first, I tweeted this out, but it's just surreal that both, like, that arguably two of the greatest Purdue athletes of all time, especially, the last 10 years, are both gone in Swanigan and Rondale.
Yeah.
Right. The two things that came to mind. One is that, that had it. So it's not that Rondale, I think it's not that Rondale necessarily put it on, like, football being his only worth and like all of his worth being tied. It was the future, his football future. What I don't think I hope that we do this idiotic thing that we do, and all of us that watch it, and all of us that like talk to us in the hallways of Ross Aid and everything, like, we do this to witness players like Rondale, to witness players like that, and when you get it, that's in amber. You don't need to do anything else. So this is also something that kind of popped into my mind, is that, like, this is why I love the classic guys naming dudes, which is like because it is truly saying, like, hey, even for a fleeting moment, this person did something that stuck in my brain. Even if it's like kind of a joke and it's like a mundane kind of, hey, remember Derek McKee? You know what I mean? But like for a guy like Rondale, it's like, this was a college football great that played on our team, and that struck fear in everybody else's heart. That's that never had a single bad thing said about him. Frankly, I think was the entire reason why Jeff Brom stayed after the first time in 2018 that Louisville came to. Kind of, I've said that before. I think the reason he stayed is because he promised Rondale he would be here. Like, that is how special of a person and a player, like, he was. And so it's just surreal, but also part of that is that if you are in that list of guys naming dudes, I don't care what you do in the future. Like, you are already a legend to me. Like, you're already there. And that is in addition to everything that Boyer talked about, for like just how certifiably perfect he was as a person. He's the exact kind of superstar that you would want, at Purdue. I'd put David Blau. David Blau wasn't a superstar, but David Blau absolutely it lives in Purdue fans' memories. But it's like, these are like ambassadors of Purdue that you are so happy with. David Bell, here's another perfect example. Statistically, has an argument for the greatest wide receiver in Purdue history.
Right.
And his career is over. Like, he is retired. I hope he knows that he is an absolute legend, and I don't need to see him play a single like down of football again to prove that he was great and he was an amazing Purdue.
He gave us joy.
He is. And it's
gave
like
us joy.
that's why we do this. It's like there are these fleeting moments of greatness that these guys have. They wear the jersey that we root for, and that forms this memory and this bond with like all of us. And truly, if you asked me to name my favorite Purdue athletes of all time, like in the top 5 is Rondale. You asked me to name my favorite Purdue football players since I went to Purdue, and the list is only, I mean, like the top 2 players. Number 1 is Ryan Kerrigan, Superman. The closest thing to an offensive Superman that we had was Rondale Moore.
Yep.
He was number 2 for me. And it's just like, it is, it's surreal, but it's like, that is part of what I hope that these athletes understand. It's like, if we spend any time talking about you, we don't need anything more from you. Like, you have already
Right.
proven it to us. Please don't, you know what I mean? It's just sad.
Greg,
It's just sad, but also yeah, what a
Greg
great.
McManus, to lift it to a funny story, he says, I still recall screaming no at my radio when Sindelar and Moore went down on the same play versus Minnesota. And do you remember the significance of that play and what happened after that in the stands?
That when
That
you
was
just left, when you just like,
my son
you
is
literally
16.
just, I've been to dozens of games with you and you just walked. I have never seen that before.
He still talks about that. He wasn't even there. And he's like, is that the game you left? He goes, was Moore one of the guys who got hurt? I said, yes. He and Sindelar went down on the same play. And I knew they were going to lose in Minnesota. And I just walked to our car and laid in the car listening to the rest of the game. I just departed. And that was not like at the end of the game. I want to say
That was like I don't know, early third quarter maybe, and it was
maybe
like,
early
okay,
third.
I guess we'll see Jay at the car. I guess we'll see him at home.
Yeah, I was like, we can't have nice
I mean,
things.
he's genuinely like genuinely one of my favorite athletes of all time, and it is so heartbreaking. And it was. This is one of the few moments when the internet sometimes is good, when it's like everybody was stunned and everybody was like, what a great, and nobody understood it. And that's part of it is, the struggles are always there and you don't know who is
You don't
going
know.
through it. So why the hell not be kind to people?
Be good to each
Like,
other.
never, yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like, just be kind to people because you never know. That guy was one of the handful of greatest Purdue players of all time. He was on his 2nd or 3rd NFL contract, multimillionaire, and he was still suffering like this. It's like, you have no idea. So just be kind. Just treat
There's an
people like
expression
they are anyway.
that says everybody's going through something. So it's important to remember that, right? Everybody's going through something. So
yeah, it's one of my favorite guys, and I'm so thankful that he was in our lives.
Yeah. Joe Ensley points out that I guess this is true. They had Moore and Boogie at the same time.
We talked about this that year, where it was like we have the 2 most electrifying players in men's basketball and football. Like, it was, and it still just brings me, even this is like, I was just stunned that day. It makes me smile just thinking about him. And like, I again hope he knows, like, I wish there was a way that he knew that. I wish there was a way his family knows that. Like, it's just, these are guys that brought us like pure joy,
Yeah. On that cheery note, Purdue is 22-6. 2 games left. They play Wisconsin. They do play Wisconsin. They play Northwestern Wednesday night at 8:30. By the way, let's just throw this out there. You don't suppose there could be negative vibes at 8:30 p.m. on a Wednesday night in Welsh Ryan Arena, do you? You don't think that doesn't bode well for a team that's having trouble getting up for games, does it? I don't.
Oh my gosh.
That's Wednesday night.
Just a boring 40-point win would be so nice.
As the joke goes, Boyle likes to make this one, is that Purdue likes to punish teams for, like, Purdue should punish Northwestern for what Ohio State did. That's what they should do.
Exactly. Oh
Just
my gosh.
take it out on them. Say, no, you were going to pay the price for this.
It's your fault. Chris Collins.
Yeah, exactly. Just eat it. So that happens Wednesday, and then Saturday is senior day. As I said, I'll be there. If you have the means to get there, which is very hard at this point, obviously, let's send these seniors out well. They definitely deserve that. And then it's on to the Big Ten tournament and lots of fun. So that's pretty much it, I think, right?
That's it. And then we win 6 and we go to a tie. We win a
I'll
championship.
take 4. Just give me 4.
I'll take 4.
Utah,
I'll take
give me
4.
4. I just
Hell, I'll take 3, but I'll take 4. Yes.
Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. And as Bullard would say, we love you guys. Good night. Then I have to wait, right? This is where you have to tell a dirty joke that doesn't get into the final stream.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't quite. You know what grinds my